All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Eagle Eye podcast. It's episode 25, and a quarter of a way through. I don't know how many episodes. I know we got a lot going, but yeah, we're back. We're here. Welcome to the L3 edition of the Eagle Eye podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna talk a lot about L3. But before we get any further, let me introduce my co-host, Mr. Dylan Jimenez. Dylan, how are we?
Going good, man. Getting ready for this game tomorrow and see what's going to happen in the group stage too, as well as we finish out.
I I I know the nerves are starting to build up. Everything around mi selección is is starting to feel a bit tense. Obviously, we're gonna talk as to why. We would have thought maybe we'd be on a happier note coming into this podcast, only because we thought by then we'd probably have a spot secured. But as fate would have it, nothing is secured as of yet, and maybe that's why we're in the group of death.
Yeah, it's very interesting. A lot of people coming in, didn't think this would be a group of death, but you see it play out now, and you look at it, and it is a group of death. A lot of people said too that Argentina with 1 point still had a chance to qualify. When Mexico has 6 points, they still have a chance to get eliminated. And so you never know what's going to happen in this football world.
No, and to put it in context, even South Korea, who has no points in this group, could still go on and advance, mathematically speaking, of course. So a lot for us to talk about. Mr. Leva on the group in the live chat has said, "I am super nervous," and I think he speaks for a lot of us, if not all of us, as to say we are nervous. We are definitely on the brink of pulling our hairs out. We're ready for tomorrow's matchup. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to recap what happened against South Korea, and we're going to get into everything. Dylan, are you ready to go?
Let's get to this, man.
Let's get right into this. Let's talk a little bit. Let's recap what happened last Saturday against South Korea, and after that, we'll move on and we'll talk and we'll preview Sweden, which I will feel take a little bit more time during the pod. So we'll talk briefly because I think this game was kind of cut clear exactly what the objective was. We got it through. There was a couple of mistakes that maybe we talk about and try to address here and try to move forward into Sweden's matchup. So Dylan, let's start off as always where we always start off, lineups. No real big change except one out of the 11 players was rotated, and that was Hugo Ayala was left out while Edson Alvarez made his first official debut start in a World Cup. How did you feel about the lineups coming out, and how did you feel about Osorio only making one rotation?
Well, first off, big round of applause for our boy Edson Alvarez. I know me and you praise him a lot too, and we know this kid's got a lot going. But anyways, back to the lineup. I see this lineup, and I see it really good. I see some good things going. Not a really whole lot of changes. I was kind of expecting two, possibly three changes, but I don't see that. You see one change, and really it pays off in the end. On another note, we see Edson go out and really perform too, because 20 years old, World Cup debut. It's still a long road to go for him too as well. But it was really good. I feel like the team played together as a whole before the substitutions were made. But that's a different story. We'll get into that too as well. But it's a strong lineup. I guess you could say in a sense, the strongest two that we can put out.
No, yeah, I agree. And the fact that there was only one rotation, I think actually helped to balance that because, like you said, the team worked as well as they could as a unit. And because there wasn't that much of rotation. It was they all knew each other. They've all been training like this, and I think we've gotten to the point where now Juan Carlos Osorio trusts in all these 23 players that he has, that he knows what his core is and he knows exactly who he wants out there, and there's no need to tinker with the formation anymore. So, that was good. I think the lineup, as soon as I saw it, I thought perfect. We didn't change much. What worked against Germany should definitely work against South Korea. And little by little, it started showcasing. I think we talked about it a little bit on the podcast. It was a bit of an unknown kind of ordeal that we didn't know whether or not South Korea was going to come attack us because we knew how desperate they were for points, or if they were going to let us have the ball and they were going to try to get us on the counter. It was definitely the latter in that sense because we had most of the ball position, we had most of the attack going forward, and South Korea did what their game plan was, which was try to use and abuse Heung-min Sung's speed and try to get us on the counter attack.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing too that pops out, all those fouls. I mean, you would think all those fouls. You would see a yellow card. You didn't really see that. A lot in the beginning too. But no, I mean, all the pressure too. Korea was applying a lot of pressure too whenever we'd get on the ball. It seemed like they were trying to force a mistake out of us. But we didn't really make those mistakes until the second half.
If it's one thing I kind of want to give praise to South Korea was for those all those fouls that they made on us. I think even though it sucks because they're hitting us, I think it was very smart of them because they were trying to disrupt our play. They saw that we had some good passing, we were stringing along very well, and they were trying to break that up. And the fact that even though we kept getting foul after foul after foul, regardless whether there was a yellow card or not, you saw that these players knew that they had to keep going with that same mentality, and it didn't really disrupt our play at all.
No, no, not at all. We had a lot of good chances too going forward. Just some things lacking in the final third a little bit too as well. Some finishing. It's maybe a pass or two that that you could have given off. To finish to find the back of the net. But just those things going forward too, and that's something that we saw in the Germany game too as well. Was just some decision making in the final third too as well.
Yeah, and praise to the boys because I think they've been doing things well correctly, and just to kind of move past that. But I think that all worked well, and I think ultimately we get a goal off a penalty, which
Mhm.
I think for me it was a clear cut penalty. What about for you?
Yeah, definitely a clear cut penalty too as well.
So Vela steps up and he scores. Wonderful. Before that though, we had I wouldn't want to say we had clear cut chances because we didn't. I don't think until the penalty there was an actual clear cut opportunity like that. We had a couple of good passes. We strung this team along very well. The only thing that concerns me and that keeps concerning me to this day is the fact that there is no real big end product from us. I think we mentioned it in the game against Germany. It looks like we're watching America play again because it looks like that final decision making in the final third. It's looking rather weak. It looks like we just can't get that final clear cut pass to go through sometimes, and because of that, I think I think we're lacking a bit offensively.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. But at the end of the day, you know, you see a goal, from Chicharito. Obviously you see a goal from Herman Lozano too as well. But it just seems it's two different ways this game ended. As the game progressed on against Germany, you see the players get tired. You see the players, getting a little sloppy whenever it goes to the final third too as well. But you don't necessarily see that either in the career game in my opinion, a little bit. It's just the substitutions, something that we're talking about. The substitutions is what killed us in the end too as well. Obviously a lot of people wanted to see Corona come on, but Corona didn't do nothing. Giovanni coming on, Giovanni not producing much either. Rafa Marquez coming on from Guardado. Obviously Guardado, a lot of people can say that they want more from Guardado, so it's just interesting to see these substitutions too as well coming on, because that's whenever we lost control of the game a little bit, I guess you can say, whenever these substitutions came on.
Okay, well, I'll touch on the subject about the substitutions in just a little bit. I kind of want to bring it back to the offensive. Look, we have a total of 3 goals in this group stage so far, with only 1 goal conceded, which sucks. I really wish we would have closed out that game with a clean sheet. It would have meant the world to us, especially coming up tomorrow and seeing how the group is going to be defined. Um, but I feel like a goal difference of 2 in the sense because of course we've scored 3, conceded 1. Um, I think that looks a little bit rather weak from a sense that we're actually I think we've played better than that. I think we've deserved more goals. I think you and Brian talked about it too on last week's pod. Uh, my prediction of 4-0 could have easily have gone through if we had our shooting boots on that day against Germany. I'm not gonna say that my prediction again for 4-0 was close against Korea because I don't feel like we had that much opportunities. I think the only one that I can remember besides the goals was a opportunity that Layun just took a first time shot and it went over the crossbar, or I think the goalkeeper tipped it over. I'm not so sure, but that was only the only clear cut opportunity I can remember.
Yeah, no, no, I get it. I mean, at the end of the day too, man, you see it. You got to finish your chances in training too as well. You got to lead it up in training too, which we got to see some chances finished too against Sweden coming up too as well. And so it's like we said too, that goal differential matters in the end too as well, and it could really play a factor come tomorrow too,
Yeah,
depending on the outcome.
yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about Sweden right now in a little bit. But I just kind of want to focus on the first 45 minutes right now of Korea, and we go into the half leading with a 1 goal margin. I think the team looked well. I think the team played very well. I know that we were playing under some pretty hot temperatures over there in Russia, which I think didn't help as much. I think some of the players looked a little bit drained. Would have liked it that the referee gave a water break, but it was, unfortunate that he didn't. But I think you close out the first 45 minutes. You look at this team. You look at what they were doing. You saw the football that we were displaying. I think you give it a thumbs up and you say, yeah, it was a pretty good performance in the first 45.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And then second half comes around, which I think is important because I think this is when things start to shift a little bit in a different context because we start off very well because we score that goal. Chicharito scores. We're ecstatic and everything seems perfectly fine. Then come the substitutions, like you were mentioning,
Mhm.
and that's when the team starts to slowly fall apart. Um, to be honest, I didn't like the way all three of them came in. You know the rhythm was off. They just didn't seem to be perfectly. And look, Rafa Marquez when he came in against Germany, I think he had a pretty decent game. He comes in for Guardado, who, like you said, I don't know if people are expecting a lot more. I guess I am too because he's kind of our captain in that sense. You know what he's capable of. But I think if you focus on his game and you focus on what he's meant to do on that pitch, I think he has more of a quiet role in the same sense that maybe Guido Rodriguez doesn't have the most brightest role in America when we talk about them. But if you really focus on his game, you see he's all over the pitch and he's doing so much for the team. And I think that's what Guardado is doing in this sense that he's not going to be the Hector Herrera. He's going to be more quiet, a little bit more conservative in the sense that he is now having the task of covering up for all the space that Hector Herrera is going to leave and making sure that the midfield is held. He has experience. He knows how to play the position and he knows how to do it well. But back to my point, Rafa Marquez comes in. I feel like he's just a little bit off. I mean, he almost gives up a goal, you
Hmm.
know, in that back pass to Ochoa. Um, Miraculously, I don't know how we don't concede, but uh, he just seemed a bit off. And then you go on and you see Tecatito Corona come in. I'd expect more from him, a lot more from him within the time that you got. Didn't seem to be the best Tecatito. And then of course Giovanni dos Santos came in, and I don't know what to say about that. He seemed that like it looked like we were playing with 10 men at that point. He just was nowhere at that. I mean, I don't know. You know, give me your take on these substitutions.
No, really, you really said it all. I mean, you can even see it in the stats line too as well. If you like to look at the stats too. I mean, we go from 90% pass accuracy in the first half to 83 in the second half. Whether we started off, if you want to say we started off as good as we did at the end of the first half and the second, obviously the substitutions played a part in it too. I mean, even ball possession. I mean, it's not by much. Korea having 51% and us 49% in the second half, but still, I mean, it says a lot too that our game went down in the second half.
I think another player that I think did not have the best of his game was Hector Moreno. I mean, I don't know, he seemed also a bit off. I don't know if it was the heat, whatever the situation may have been, but I don't know. What was your take?
I think Hector Moreno had a decent game. I think really, if you're gonna want to point out a weak spot in this back line, it could be debatable between Gallardo or Edson Alvarez. Really, to be honest, but I feel like the back line had a decent game. Obviously, Carlos Salcedo, the guy to be out of this back line. He really had a wonderful game. He put on a clinic, if you ask
Shout out
me.
to him because my goodness, if you want to know how much this World Cup means to a player, look at the way he's been playing. There has been shots where he has flung his body in front of. I mean, literally, he doesn't care where it hits him, how it hits him, whatever the consequences are going to be. He is throwing himself in
Six block
front of the
shots.
line. and then there are shots that you think, wow, this could cause us trouble, but he is throwing himself out there on the line. I think he's been the best defender for us.
Yeah, yeah, I really think so too. And that says a lot too, playing next to Hector Moreno. And
Exactly.
yeah, it really does. In a sense too, you want to think this is good for him. Not trying to say nothing bad about Nestor Araujo, but if you look at it, it could have easily been Gallardo, Moreno, Araujo, and probably Salcedo in that right back position.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think Salcedo prefers to have that center back spot. He feels more at home with that. But
Hmm.
um, I think the back line did not have their best game, but it definitely they did more than enough to get the result out. And I guess really quickly, who for you who kind of stood out in this game in a positive note?
Really, man, it's really hard to tell. A lot of people saying Carlos Vela. Obviously, I like Carlos Vela. Carlos Vela actually absolutely did amazing. But it's really hard to choose whenever you want to look at Carlos Vela or Carlos Salcedo too as well. So
I think either of the two Carloses. For me, I'm going with Vela. I think he's just orchestrating our midfield fantastic. Him
mm,
playing in that cam role, I think, has been the best move by Juan Carlos Osorio.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think so too.
if you see the way because this is a Carlos Vela that isn't the fastest anymore. He's not the best winger, but you put him in that midfield role and he will string out a pass. He will move the ball around. He will kind of, get the team going, get the team moving, and that's great. He can take on two, three players, release the ball, and then boom, open space. It's fantastic the way he's been moving around, the way he's just orchestrating the midfield, the way he's leading the attack. Um, I couldn't be happier with his performance. And I think it's great because this is a guy that, a lot of people were criticizing because of his move to LAFC. A lot of people had doubts whether or not he was going to be, in his best form for the World Cup. And, come to it, I think he's been, if not our best player, one of the best players.
Yeah, I really think so too.
And I mean, in the end, I think we played a good solid game of football. I think we were unfortunate to concede. I think we held Korea off very, very well. Like I said, there was a couple of times in defense where we looked a bit shaky on the counterattack, but like I said, I think the backline did more than enough. And it was unfortunate that we conceded that goal in the 89th minute, 90th minute.
No, it wasn't stoppage time. I think.
Was it? Well,
Yeah, yeah.
either way, it was unfortunate. I felt bad because I think we did so well, and then the Ochoa fan in me was very, very bitter because that means he is not. He's just one step back from that Golden Glove. Um, but I think in the end, if you look at everything, I think we were definitely the team that deserved the win, and I think we definitely outplayed Korea in certain points of the game.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I think I'd give this performance maybe a B plus. I'd give it definitely an A if we hadn't conceded that goal so late. But there's some questions surrounding the substitutions as well, and as well as the finishing too as well, and creating some chances too as well going forward. But overall, a good solid performance. I'll take it. B plus, like I said.
I think a B plus. I'd give it a B. A B, close to a B minus. I think we could have done things better, especially on the offense. We have so much explosive power. I think we just got to get it right. And here's someone that we haven't mentioned yet, but I think Miguel Ayun again, another great performance by him.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I really think him being in that midfieldish winger position, really, really says a lot too about him. And it's really great to see him not only doing it here, but also doing it in Sevilla too. Whenever he was playing with Sevilla.
And it's fantastic. Shout out to him. It was his birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to you, Miguel Ayun. We know you listen to this. It helps you go to sleep at night. Um, it's fantastic because he's playing in a position where, like you said, he's done it a bit for Sevilla. Um, but it's not really his nature. His nature is on the left hand side
Mhm.
of the field, and he's doing things just so well. And I think the reason why he's there is because tactically he will listen to what was instructed of him. And I think his instructions if you look at these last two games, they're very simple. The super simple, but sometimes extremely hard to follow at times. His task is really just stay out wide when they attack at us, drop back, help out, cover, and when we're on the attack, sprint up into the open space. Never veer off. Just on that right hand side, up and down, up and down, up and down, all game long. And he's fulfilled it exceptionally well.
Yeah, really has, comes back to that, he's at that peakness in his fitness too as well. It seems like to be doing that, and for full 90 minutes, it really says something.
It shows how much he's been working physically. And remember,
It
at the
really
start
has.
at the start of the year, people were questioning Miguel Layun because he wasn't even fielding himself for Porto. A lot of people were going to question, is he going to be even fit for the World Cup?
Hmm. Yeah, and then luckily he got that loan move too, and being at Sevilla really helped out a lot, tactically and getting fit too, getting some minutes, because obviously playing on that left side, the right side, in the midfield, sometimes at the winger position too, he's just versatile.
He is. So shout out to Layundowski, who I think he can grab himself a goal this World Cup.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like if he was on the left side, maybe we would have seen something by now. But
That's true.
there's some chances that he's had, and there's some chances that just way off. But
There's
maybe.
one thing I will criticize about him is keep your shots low, my guy.
Hmm.
Keep your shots low. That's all I'm asking for you. You would have had two goals by now if you did so. Um, But yeah, Leba has commented that Jesus Gallardo wasn't that good either. I think he did he wasn't exceptional like he was against Germany, but I think he had a pretty decent game against South Korea. I don't really have much bad things to say about anyone except maybe a couple of mistakes here and there, especially from our subs. I think they should have came in with a better rhythm, but I think all in all, the team displayed well, and again maybe just to toot Edson Alvarez's own horn. He there was one play where Heung Min Sung just absolutely did him, and I think after that he's like, nope, this is not happening again, and he just became a wall in a sense.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. But
So final whistle blows goes. It's 2-1. What are your end? What do you concur after that?
really a good game. Just a little nervous trying to see how that Sweden Germany game goes, and we all know how that ended. So
Unbelievable
uh,
free kick.
yeah, I know, man. I saw that, and I got up and screamed, and my grandparents just looked at me like, "What the hell?" They thought something bad happened to me or something.
Well, it was bad because I mean, with that result, we would have been secured.
Yeah, yeah, we would have, but like, I don't know. I mean, it makes me nervous too going into tomorrow's game.
Well, I think overall the final whistle blows, and I think you realize that the team did well, except there's a couple of things that we need to fix.
Yeah,
Like I said on the counter, there was a couple of times we made mistakes. There was a couple of times where, offensively we could have done better. And I think our good friend from Football Forever, the subs, they got to get better. They
yeah,
got
they
to get
really.
better. And I'm not saying so much it's on Juan Carlos Osorio because I think he made the right substitutions. I
Mhm.
just think that these substitutions didn't come in and make an impact. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
the only one maybe I would question is the Giovanni Dos Santos one. Maybe I would have put in Marco Fabian
Hmm.
instead. But overall, for what he's putting in and for the people that came in, they, they were the right choices for me. But I think they just have to come in better. So
Yeah.
hopefully you move on from that and come tomorrow, things are better, and the players realize that because there's a lot on the line. A lot of people say 6 points, you're at least guaranteed into the next round, but not
The,
not this time.
no, at this point, not. And so,
So anything else you want to add on?
um, no, no. I feel like we talked about it a good sense. Really.
Alrighty. Well, Mexico wins 2-1 against South Korea. That did put us at 6 points, still at 6 points with a goal differential of +2. Uh, really, I think it's going very, very well for us. The team looked motivated, the players look motivated, and I think one of the most beautiful moments was seeing that these players afterwards went over and started celebrating with their families. Edson sharing a picture with his mom. Carlos Salcedo, Memo Ochoa with his family, all these players that went out and it showed how much they're bonded not only with the team but with their families outside too, and all the support that they're having, especially
Mhm.
after this whole kind of big commotion that happened, of course, with the alleged scandal and everything.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. So nervous going forward, but at the same time, I feel pretty confident about it going forward too as well.
Alrighty, well, we end that game and that a roller coaster of emotions that was Saturday, and then we move on and we kind of have to shift and talk about this Sweden game. So let's preview what is supposed to be the most. I even said it myself when the group came out, the most important game against Sweden. It's tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific time. That's 9 a.m. for you, right, Dylan?
Yes, Central Time.
Central time, and that's of course 10 o'clock for our friends over in the East Coast. Bright and early to get your day going. For those of you who are going to miss work, I salute you. For those of you who will be at work and will somehow be sneaking in that game, I salute you as well. So, however you're watching the game, it doesn't matter. Point is, you're going to be in that emotional roller coaster with the rest of the world in deciding Mexico's fate for the upcoming round. Let's talk about what Mexico needs to do in order to get a result against Sweden. And Dylan, I ask to you, what is a result for tomorrow? What is what
Really,
what is considered a result?
a win. I want to win, but we get through with the draw. But I feel like this team has embedded in their mind that we can do this, so we can go out there and get a win.
So we're gonna go 3 for 3 is what is the expectation, correct? That's is exactly what we want. Um, and let's be realistic about this. We've never gone 3 for 3 at a World Cup. I think it was a great stat pointed out by Cari Torres. For those of you guys who know who she is, she did a great preview on Foot Mex Nation on tomorrow's game. Make sure you guys check it out if you guys haven't done so. But she goes on and she states that we haven't gone 3 for 3, and this is a great opportunity to do so. Um, the team knows that that's what they want. The team knows that they're obligated to do so because at the end of the day, you can't rely on just holding off for a draw. You got to go out there and you got to play to win.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And you take that too, and you carry that momentum over into the knockout stages too as well.
Correct. And I think that's the most important part, momentum. If you got it, use it, especially whether you're carrying that over from a group stage or you're carrying it over into the knockout stages. At the end of the day, it's a boost. It helps motivate players. It helps them, keep going. And it's important to realize that. So, Sweden, we know that they're gonna go out and they're gonna play to win. They have to. No other result will guarantee them anything. We are assuming that Germany will beat South Korea. This is an assumption that the whole world is making. South Korea could definitely come out and prove us wrong. They could pull up the biggest upset because that would be an even more upset, them losing to South Korea than them losing to us. And they could still somehow manage to go through. But at the end of the day, you need to realize that you count on yourself. We hold our own destiny in our own hands. No one can take that away from us. We're not relying on any other results but our own. And I think that is very important if you realize.
Yeah, it's definitely important. It's definitely important. You know, today in today's press conference too. Tom tweeted out that Chicharito wants everybody to imagine amazing things. Obviously, it's said a little differently. But in Spanish, not
Say
necessarily
it how it goes. Imaginémonos cosas chingonas.
Yes, exactly what Ivan said. But still, this team has came out and played. A lot of people can say, look back at the friendlies, that these guys didn't really look ready. There were still some problems to be fixed, and then a lot of critics too get smacked in the face because we come out and beat Germany 1-0, and then we go out and play a good game against Korea, and all of a sudden we're two wins in and 6 points. And, not a lot of people probably expected that either.
We're in the driver's seat now. We really are. Now we need to go out there and keep proving that point, keep proving those haters wrong. and keep proving the world that Mexico is not this small kind of footballing nation that the rest of the European kind of people see us as. And we have Sweden, who I think is going to be much, much tougher than Germany in the sense because they're going to be going out for more. Great stat by our guy, our good friend Leva. He said he was looking at the starting 11 for Sweden, and it looks like everyone in their starting 11 is 5'10" or taller, with the defensive line at 6'2" or taller. So what does that say? That one, they're
I mean,
tall. One, they're tall. I mean, let's get right to the first point. They're tall, but that also means that, you know, we have to be smart on how we play. We can't force crosses in. We can't think that we're gonna beat them on a corner kick all the time. There'll be an exception here and there, but I think our best bet, and I think this is the bet that we've been using for the whole World Cup, is keep the ball on the ground, keep it at your feet, move it, move the ball, string the ball around, but don't kick it in the air. Don't start playing kickball. Don't start dividing the ball. Just don't try to start forcing passes over the head. Just play small, simple football, pass, touch and go, touch and go. Once you do so, once you can get into a rhythm, and once you get Sweden running around, you're gonna find open spaces, and that's when you put in that killer ball. But always keep it on the ground. Always keep it on the ground because the aerial battle, 6 times out of 10, I promise you, we're not gonna win it.
I think I was looking at stats, and I think over the first two games Sweden has, I think they've had 17 corners compared to us. We've only had six. And so you look at that, and pretty scary stat. But you can also look at it a different way too. You know, in a sense, especially whenever we had it against Germany, you could say, what's one thing you notice whenever Germany had a corner kick? There were usually about two or three guys sitting on top of the box, and we got them on the counter. I mean, yeah, obviously, our finishing wasn't pretty. There was some decision making that was questionable in the final third going forward too as well. But it's also a point to look at too as well. We can also hit Sweden on the counter if they're going to fill the box up too as well.
I love the fact that you're bringing up the counter attacking because here comes my next question. How is it that we play against the Sweden side? We know that they're desperate. We know that they're going to come at us. Do we give them the liberty to and give them the ball, soak up the pressure, and get them on the counter attack? Or do we go toe to toe and play? You know, do we go out there and press them high? And try to make them uncomfortable. Have let us dictate the play by us having the ball. What do you think is going to be the game plan coming out?
Whenever Sweden look at the first two games, obviously, one thing that they're going to notice is that seems to about all we know is to push forward and attack. And, they're seeing our defense is shaky. They're seeing that too. And so, I feel like we're gonna have to come out and try to find that balance between being conservative and being aggressive. I feel like if we can find that right balance in between, I feel like we can dictate this game. We can hold that possession and find a couple of goals and put it in the back of the net.
Okay, okay. Hey, yo, shout out to Alex Francis who just wrote Sweden defenders got like 40 pace on FIFA. We got this. So and that brings up my next point too. It looks like their back line is not as fast as our front line. So shout out to Alex who's pointed out use and abuse that speed, correct? Just like we said against Irwin Lozano, use and abuse his speed. This back line is not the fastest in the world. It's definitely gonna get beaten out by pace. I think you look at how Miguel Ayun has been playing and how he's been running, and obviously no one's gonna doubt how quick Chucky Lozano is. You use them and you use it wisely. Whether that be on the counter attack, whether like you say we go and when we're in the attack, it just varies. And I'm worried. I'm really worried that we let Sweden on the ball and we try to suck up that pressure. In no way in the opening minutes can that be your play. Even if you have an advantage, knowing that they are the ones who are obligated to score and win, and you're okay with the tie. The moment you start realizing and the moment you give yourself kind of that freedom is the moment you let the opposition get one above you. If we start off the way we've been starting off and we go and we press and we get them and we make them uncomfortable, we're doing the high pressing, we don't let them play out the back and we force the mistakes in their half. That is the Mexico that I want to see, and that is the Mexico that if they come out and they field out that strategy, we can definitely see this Mexico side come out victorious. The most important thing for Mexico, and I think the key to Mexico's victory is get an early goal. Get an early goal, manage the game from there, and you'll see how things open up, and it just makes life a lot more easier.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, we're gonna see a physical game. I'm just worried about it getting too physical because we got two important players sitting on a yellow card right now, and we don't need to lose those important players if we're gonna make it to the next round too as well.
The only one that worries me more is Hector Moreno because he's a
Um,
defender. He has to go in for those challenges, and the way that the defenders have been playing, they've been throwing everything out on the line. Um, and who's to say that he goes in for a fair, clean challenge? The Sweden player makes a little bit more of it. The referee gives him a yellow when maybe he didn't deserve it. But I mean, these are opportunities, these are chances that you risk as a defender.
it really is going forward, and that's the way I see it. I feel like this is going to be a physical game because obviously these players are tall and everything, so it's going to be a battle in the air and also on the ground, towards each other too as well.
I think I think our holy trinity that's been going on top, which is Chucky, Chicharito, and Layun, with of course Vela behind them. If they can link up, if they could get that ball moving, and they can run circles around this defense, literally.
Definitely. Yeah,
So
it's like I said, just finding that balance, because you I feel like Mexico know that they got the 6 points. I feel like they're confident, but not too confident going into this game too as well. And so it's just finding that balance between being conservative and being aggressive, because obviously you see the defense. The defense has been really shaky the past two games, and you see the attack. The attack's been doing really good stuff. Obviously aside from the fact that finishing's a problem, a couple mistakes in the final third decision making, but still, I mean, you got to find that balance in between. I feel like.
and I think that perfect balance that you're talking about is our midfield. It
Hmm.
is Guardado, is Herrera, is Vela whenever he has the ball. They work so well. They keep this structure so well. And I think that's important. Remember that word structure for tomorrow. Keep that structure, keep that line exactly how it's supposed to be. And I promise you, Sweden's gonna have a hard time getting past it. You know, it's important that these players realize that they do have an advantage, but they can't fall back on it. They have to create their own winnings in this sense. And we'll talk about who we think is gonna field the pitch, and from there on, maybe we can discuss a little bit more about what each player's role is gonna be. But in the end, I think every single player, whether you start or you're coming off the bench, you need to go out there with 120% determination that you got to get the victory. There's no exceptions, none whatsoever.
It's really not. I mean, everybody's got to bring it, man. Everybody knows what's on the line, and so they feel that confidence. They feel that need to go out and represent their country, their people, and I feel like they're to come out and do that.
So I talked about the best case scenario, which is us getting an early goal because that opens up a whole bunch of doors and that opens up the Sweden defense and the Sweden team by a lot. But like Leba said, it's defensively they're very well, this Sweden side. I mean, you saw how they held off Germany with 10 men.
Hmm.
And they held off. They also held off Italy to get to the World Cup. So it's important that we don't concede. We cannot concede. We have to keep that clean sheet. I want us to walk out of this game tomorrow with a clean sheet. Like for me, that's a must. But you can't give them that liberty. You can't give them a goal, especially an early goal, because they're like Leba said, they're gonna sit back. And defensively, they are so hard to break down.
Hmm.
So tough to break. So it's important. Whatever player feels that knows that they cannot give anything away. We talked about Germany having the perfect matchup. We need to have this perfect match. It's against Sweden too. We need to have a perfect match again. We need to be solid in all fronts, whether it's from the defense to the attack. Once you can get that through your head and you can execute that, I promise you that the result is gonna come.
Yeah.
And you see these players and you see the way things are going. I think it's phenomenal that they have such a high confidence in themselves and in each other. I think that's more important in each other. They play as a team. They've come and they've grown as a team. And against Sweden, you're gonna have to put it all on the line and get that result, which is like we said, for us, a result is a victory. It's not a draw. You gotta go out there. You gotta win.
Yeah, and these guys want to go out there and win, and I know they can win. They're full with the confidence to win.
I think so. I completely agree. So let's talk predicted lineups, and then we'll talk a little bit more about in detail about what else this Mexican national team needs to do in order to get a victory against Sweden. Dylan, as always, give me your starting 11. How many rotations are you putting in?
I'm putting in one rotation, and it's gonna be Edson now and Hugo Ayala in. I really think that's gonna be the case for me. Obviously Carlos Salcedo back at that right back position, then so just putting in Ayala right there at the center back position next to Moreno.
That's it.
Mm, I really think so. Um, I really don't see nobody else. I mean, I could be wrong. I feel like there's going to be a little bit more since it was like a 4 day period between the games. But I feel like he'll
We
stick
only
with
got
stick.
3 days to be honest. Is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday's already game day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I feel like he's going to stick with the same 11 that's been working.
Agreed. Agreed. If I'm thinking exactly like that, I your lineup is exactly what I would come up with. I think Edson does hit the bench. I think you're trying to be a little bit more defensive, and Ugo Yala proved himself very well against Germany, and why not against Sweden too? Now, and we remember we talked about the Sweden backline being extremely tall. Um, so question, because Christian pointed out in the group chat, would you start Chicharito or would you start Raul over him, knowing that he's much taller, much more physical of a presence?
Raul does bring that physical presence, like you said, Ivan. But at the same time, I feel like Juan Carlos Osorio is going to stick with Chicharito no matter what, because I feel like this is your guy. Uh, this is the guy that's been showing a lot of emotion. Especially you see it against Germany too. Not just the fact that they won too, but you see it in the national anthem too as well. Whenever the fans are there and everything, so I feel like this guy's going to bring the passion. I feel like this guy is going to bring his heart. 120%, like you said, no matter what.
Okay. I personally would maybe start Raul and see what the first 45 minutes do for him. It's if we're trying to go for aerial battle, if you're trying to get physical, if you but on that same note, you could easily bring Raul in to close out the game like that.
Yeah,
So
those fresh those fresh legs really make a difference.
so I could see either or working. Either
Yeah.
start him, let him play his game, or bring him on when you're trying to secure that victory. And it's like you got 20, 25 minutes left. Bring on Raul. Let him kind of be that kind of estorbo in up top. I could see that working either way. So I think we have some great substitutions within Raul Jimenez.
Definitely, man.
So I agree with you. I think the lineup is going to be Chicharito up top and everyone else we just mentioned. Another important game for Layun, I think.
hmm
And I
Definitely.
say this because you have their main man kind of drifting towards that left hand side, which is Forsberg.
hmm
I think he's gonna come out. He's gonna try to do his thing. I think he's the one man that you're gonna have to neutralize. If we're able to neutralize Forsberg, I think we neutralize Sweden's creativity.
Yeah, I think so too.
So cut him off. Try to give him as little bit of space. Don't man mark him. And I'm not a big fan of man marking in situations like this. I think whoever is closest to him, make sure you stick to him and just track off. Just track off and then track back on whenever he gets the ball, whenever you see he's in the open space. And I think and I think Layun's gonna be a very important player because he's gonna have to come keep going back and forth, back and forth.
hmm
The guy must have lungs of steel because he's done it twice for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we're really gonna need him to do it again for another 90. But I think he's gonna be having a very important game. I think Hector Herrera, he needs to be like they say in the group chat. Herrera needs to be the factor from the start. He needs to kind of be the guy who's kind of moving things around. And don't get me wrong, Vela can do it as well. And then I expect Vela to do a little bit more though in the final third. And And I think Hector Herrera, I think, needs to bring the ball up, needs to get it from our half onto their half, and then kind of lay it off to the attackers. Um, but I think
Yeah,
if we're talking about important players, I think Herrera, Layun, and Chucky Lozano are my three people to go to see how it is that these three impact the game and how they can kind of open up the match for us.
yeah. That Herrera Guardado partnership right there in the midfield is going to be key. Like you said, whenever I was mentioning the fact that we need to find that perfect balance in between being conservative and aggressive, because it's one thing Juan Carlos Herrera likes to do is to be aggressive and he likes to attack. At the same time, too, we know that our backline is shaky, so got to find that perfect fit right there in between.
Would you be surprised if we drop Vela and then we stick in a center defensive mid instead?
Um, no, I mean,
Because
yeah,
I
I
can
know
see that
in a
happening.
way, I mean, I can see that happening too, but I mean, in a way, I guess you could say I could be because I mean, you have the likes of Guardado, probably I guess you could say a little bit more than Hector Herrera doing that already. But
I don't know. I guess because look, it's no surprise Sweden gonna come out with their 4-4-2.
mhm,
You know, it's how do you neutralize them? That's the big question because
yeah,
you have two strikers up top. Now, remember, that means that each center back is gonna have kind of their own chambelan to kind of worry about. So if we drop in a center defensive mid, then that allows for the center defensive mid to kind of drop in and kind of relieve pressure from either or the center backs. You know?
it's a
Yeah. I mean, perfect. Edson would be perfect.
yeah, I think it would be too.
And I think it just I could see it happening only to neutralize Sweden in the midfield and up. I could see that happening, you know. But I mean, and what do you have going on in your head about maybe anything potentially new coming out from Juan Carlos Osorio?
I, I mean, other than what you said, man, kind of like what Alex Francia said. At this point, we need to stick to our 11 that we have. I just feel that way. I just feel like we need to stick with what we've been working with. Other than that one change, having Hugo Alaya come on for Edson Alvarez instead. Really, I don't really see nothing changing. Really.
Okay. And I'm fine with that. I am 100% get that chemistry going, get those same players playing. It's important. It really is important to play week in and week out, or in this situation, game in and game out, with the same players. You build chemistry. You build, it's exactly what this sport is meant to be. You know,
Hmm.
and and I hope, and I really really hope that there's not that much changes. I think that Hugo Yala one for Edson is perfect, and if not, then I have no problem with Edson starting at right back either.
Yeah. I, I don't know, man. We'll see. I mean, we'll all find out in the morning too. I mean, I mean,
Yep, that's right.
at this point, regardless of us seeing one change from Germany to South Korea, I mean, it's really still unpredictable if you ask me.
Yeah, because Juan Carlos Osorio could just automatically put in like a whole different 11.
Yeah,
And then you'd be like, well, that's Osorio.
nah,
Uh,
no,
but
man.
no, bless that man's heart. I mean, for what he's gone through, and for people to start cheering his name
Hmm.
all across the stadium against Korea, um, it makes you reflect a little bit too, because there's been times where, we've talked about it, we've wanted him gone. And for him to come out and be able to do this and prove a whole nation. He
Hmm.
really is. He's proven a whole nation wrong. And bless that man's heart, because he is leading us to glory.
Really
And
is.
and I I take back a lot of what I said, because he's proven us wrong. And at this point, you know, you gotta keep going with your manager.
Yeah, and these players trust him. The players got confidence in him, so it says a lot. Because I remember last time whenever we talked before the Germany game. You said when was the last time we had the players back the manager and trust the manager? I mean, because you didn't really see that with Piojo, to be honest.
Mhm.
No, so, I mean
Mhm.
you're seeing it now, and it means it says a lot, to it's about the players too whenever they back their manager.
Exactly, exactly. So I think we can agree. Mexico, if they field out the 11 that we expect them to field out, they need to go on the attack. They need to bring the game to Sweden. We can't rely on just relieving the pressure, soaking up the pressure, and then trying to get them on the counterattack. I think at the end of the day, you go out there, you play your game the way you've been playing. You don't give anything up. You don't give in. You go at them. You make them uncomfortable. You make them nervous. You press them high, and you get that early goal. And I could definitely see this team walking out with that victory.
Definitely too. Definitely. Leva pissed off a little bit about Argentina advancing with 1 point.
Shout out to all of you guys who have been in the commentating in the live chat. Sup to Cuauhtemoc Gonzalez who says sup Ivan and Dylan. What's up to you, my friend? Uh, sup to Leva, sup to Christian, sup to Carlos, sup to everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. For all of you guys who are watching. Um, and yeah, dude, nervous for tomorrow. We're a couple hours away, and I have a feeling I won't be able to sleep tonight.
Me on the other hand, I'm nervous, but I feel confident at the same time.
Yes, I'm confident in the sense, but it's nerve wracking because there's so much on the line.
Right, right,
But
really is.
we're confident. We're confident here at the Eagle Eye Podcast. Now it's time for everyone's segment, the predictions. Dylan, what is your prediction for tomorrow against Sweden?
I'll go 2-1 win.
2-1 win. Now, I have to look at this. And as much as I want to say 4-0, as much as I want to say 4-0, I need to be realistic. I need to be and if I analyze everything and if I'm looking at how things have been going and if I look at Sweden's defense and I look at how attacking wise we've been, if I have to go a little bit more conservative on the results, I think I'm predicting another 4-0. Mexico's going to walk out and Mexico's going to get those 4 goals. We're going to get Chicharito on the score. We're going to get Chucky Lozano. We're going to get Layun his goal. And then we're going to get a surprise goal from Hector Moreno or Carlos Salcedo. You guys heard it here first on the Eagle Eye Podcast. Make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter because as soon as all those 4 goals go through, I'm going to run around the office with my shirt off.
I like it, man. Leva over here saying 2-0 to Mexico. Christian saying 3-1 Mexico. So, I mean, we're feeling confident. I mean, there's no point. Obviously, you're feeling confident too with your 4-0 prediction again.
I'm saying it, and I thought about it. It crossed my mind all day. I was doing the numbers. I looked like that meme with the guy from The Hangover, just kind of doing all the numbers on the side. And I gotta go 4-0, 4-0 tomorrow.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we're confident. I like the team. I like the spirit. I like the way we've been moving. I like the way that things have been going. The fact that we were just kind of getting all this momentum. We're pumped up, but we have our feet grounded. I think that's the most important part. For me, it's even though we're on cloud nine, the boys have been able to stay grounded. They've kept their feet on earth. And they know the task ahead of them and they know what they have to do. They're not getting ahead of themselves, which is important to me.
Yes. I mean, these players are really looking forward to it too. These players are ready to go out and represent the country of Mexico too. So, despite a lot being on the line too, these guys are ready to come out and play.
What is it that you just wrote? Why did you put Rafa? No. I would like to excuse his comment on there. For those of you who are listening through iTunes or SoundCloud, we're commenting back and forth with the people on the live chat. This is why we always encourage you guys to come out whenever you guys can to the live chat. But no, where's the delete button? No, okay, now we're getting on terms. How are you gonna say Melitón is better than Ochoa? You know what? We are running through technical difficulties. I'm gonna leave that up to Spam. But at the end of the day, let's go back to topic before we run on a big old tangent. I think tomorrow, as a unit, as a whole, the team will go out and they will give it their all. That I am certain of. So hopefully, hopefully, like I said, we walk out and get everything going our way, and look at the face, and even if things get tough, just stare into the face of adversity and come out on top. That's
It's
important.
Esteban Mendez with Mexico 3, Sweden 0, and Chicharito with a hat trick.
Okay, now Labor put Conejo Perez over Ochoa, and that's just bringing back bad memories of 2010 for me. So I think I'm gonna get off the podcast now. Um,
Oh man. Oh man, this is good. This is good. Oh man.
but oh no, Christian wrote Navarrete over Ochoa. No, you're killing me, boys. You're killing me.
Oh man.
Oh man, but yeah, just let's get it going. I'm confident in this team, and I also want to give a huge shout out to every single Mexican supporter out there in Russia. Absolutely making it seem like every game is a home game. For those of you who are out there in Russia or know of someone who's out there in Russia, text them. Say, you know what? Big ups to you because uh, I know the team loves it. To have so many fans, to have that kind of atmosphere, I can't believe you hear it over the screen or over the TV how loud it gets, the Cielito Lindo when it comes on, the himno, just all the ruckus that they're making, and all it seems like it's a festival at times, as much as it is on the pitch. So shout out to everyone who's out there in Russia, and if you're in Russia and for some reason are listening to this podcast, let us know. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. But at the end of the day, I think I know I saw it. I saw it. Don't how am I gonna explain this to the people who are listening over iTunes and SoundCloud?
That's
And they'll
okay.
be like,
I'll
what?
explain it to them.
Why are they? We're still going on the whole who's better than Ochoa thing that they're clowning me on, but yeah, I shout out to them, and at the end of the day, oh my God, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we were confident, and we're definitely ready to get things going. Now I'm gonna give this small little segment off to you guys because you guys keep telling me someone put Leyva put Caballero over Ochoa. No, my guy, no. You guys, oh my God, you guys are killing me.
You
Make sure you
forgot.
guys follow us on Twitter. We always like interacting with you guys like this over Twitter too. Make sure you guys follow us at Eagle Eye Pod. Dylan, and I don't usually do this, but where can they find you on Twitter?
At DYL_J14.
Alrighty, and then if for some reason you guys want to follow me, you guys can always find me at Ivan Pineda 83.
Link is in the description.
Oh, it's in the description too. You know what? It's just on there automatically. Uh, I guess I set it up a long time ago. Like I don't even remember. But we're completely off tangent now. This is horrible.
But you forgot the Moses Munoz over Ochoa one.
Oh yes. I forgot. The Cuauhtemoc Gonzalez said Moises Munoz over Ochoa. I don't know. My heart is always gonna be in Ochoa. My Ochoa wig is somewhere to be found. I forgot where I threw it. But it's here somewhere. If not, I'd have it on. Um, make sure you guys do go back to the last episode. You know what? Once we go on into the next round, I'll have my Ochoa wig ready for you guys.
Wait.
Just to point out, prove a point out to all of you.
Oh man.
Up in my wedding, but I mean, we're running to the end. We have one little quick segment and just a bit of Club America news. Dylan, you want to announce to the world what's been going on?
Roger Martinez has been announced as our new number 9 player. Excited for this. Let's see how this goes. There were some players that were shortlisted. Players approached, which some weren't really wanting to come to the club. Some were waiting for after the World Cup. The news about De Jong, he wanted too much money. Last time I heard that was from Billy Escobar. He wanted a little bit too much money. I don't think the club was really willing to pay what he wanted. So
yeah,
is what I understood at least.
Let's see what he does. I know a lot of us are want to quickly come and judge and say why him, so young, why not get someone like Luke De Jong or whatever. But let's just give him a shot. I think that's all we have. And Oh my God, Leva.
Get off the pod. I'm calling the police.
Leva just put Viva Chivas. After I was gonna give him the award for the best commentator for putting Ochoa over Neuer, now he put Viva Chivas, and now I'm in my feels. Thank you. I'm kidding, but you know, come on, Leva. Come on. Could have waited a little bit after the pod was over, but again, I'm getting off on a tangent and shit. uh, let's not be so quick to rush things, and you know what? Let's give him an opportunity. He wore that number 9 jersey, and kind of from the angle from the back, he kind of looked a little bit like Silvio Romero. So that kind of didn't bring me much pleasure. But we'll leave it at that. We'll have a lot more to talk about when the season starts, of course, which will be in a couple weeks.
Less than a month, really now.
It's ridiculous. Wow. We'll definitely
Yeah,
have you guys covered for all of that and much, much more. But right now we're focused on L3. As you guys know, it's the L3 edition of the Eagle Eye podcast. But with that, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Let's final words from you, Dylan, and on Mexico, Sweden.
just I'm confident, man. I'm feeling good actually.
I'm feeling good too. I'm confident. Jersey's ready to go for tomorrow. I'm ready. And let's go. Let's do this. Come on, boys. 4-0. Let's take it home. Let's take it. Let's take it home. All right. So, at the end of the day, we're confident here. And I don't know how to kind of, tip this off, but, come on, let's go. Let's do this. And we can do it. I know it's Sweden and everything, but we're Mexico. And that should be more than enough of a reason.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Hashtag it. Nada nos detiene. All right. Well, I think with that said, it's been episode 25 of the Eagle Eye Podcast L3 edition. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Again, as always, make sure you guys do follow us on SoundCloud and iTunes, because if you guys for whatever reason miss out on a show, you guys can always find us and take us on the go. And without further ado, Dylan, thank you so much for coming on the pod as always.
No problem, man. We'll be doing this again soon.
We will. We'll be back Thursday.
Thursday, yes.
We'll be back Thursday, same time, same channel, same everything. So all of you guys, make sure you guys do come back, and we'll definitely talk about all this whole Chivas America, Navarrete, Corona, all this stuff that's going on in the live chat. We'll definitely address everything again. Come Thursday. Hopefully we're on a happy and brighter note, and by then we'll definitely know, who will be playing in the next round.
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much.
Someone put oh no, Esteban, come on. Like, you know what? Whatever, I'll take it, because Dylan's one hell of a guy. So I'll take that. I'll take that. So again, thank you, Dylan. Thank to everyone who came out for the live chat. I know for those of you listening on SoundCloud, iTunes, they have no idea whatsoever what's going on. But we do, as always, encourage you guys to come out and watch the live show. But as always, thank you again. Make sure you guys do follow us on Twitter at Eagle Eye Pod. We'll have so much more update. And without further ado, I'll see you guys very, very soon. We'll see you guys Thursday, and we'll have hopefully much, much better news. Until next time, guys, take care. Hasta la próxima. And as always, take care. Vamos, Mexico. And imagínense cosas chingonas.